we move on very quickly to another very interesting topic on pharmacies in our practice. And to introduce the speakers, I first introduce the moderator, Dr. Vinay Singh. Sir, he's the President-elect of the IITville DSP 2021, and he's also a senior consultant dermatologist in Delhi at Vibrance Skin Clinic. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Himanshu, for such nice words. And what a day. We have had artificial intelligence and then telemedicine. Both are the requirement for today and the future. Maybe what holds is to be seen. And also is a very practical thing which most of us have as a question in our minds. That is whether to have an in-house pharmacy or not. So today's topic, for which two wonderful dermatologists from Delhi will be speaking for and against, is in-house pharmacy is an essential component of dermatology practice. And to speak for is none other than Dr. Kashish Kalra. He's a consultant dermatologist and laser surgeon at Kalra Skin Clinic and also Max Smart Hospitals Acaad. And he has done a fellowship in skin lasers by EADV. And most of us may not be knowing, but he's a poet at his heart, and he's a wonderful poet. We would, if time permits, I would request him to enlighten us with some of his poetries. And to for the against motion, we have Dr. Gaurav Nakra, a well-known figure in dermatology, who is a dermatologist, consultant dermatologist, and a laser surgeon. And he has worked in both government and private institutes, and he's running his practice today. And he's very much actively involved in conducting training for lasers for the young dermatologists. He is very young himself. And his fields of interest are pediatric dermatology, drug interactions, and other systemic drug management, lasers, etc. And Dr. Gaurav Nakra loves to travel. I have met him at various exotic places across the globe, and we have had some wonderful time. So I would love Dr. Gaurav to speak about his travel experience after the debate is over. So Dr. Kashish, are you ready?
Yes, sir. Thank you so much for the lovely introduction. And should I start, sir? Should I share the screen?
Yes, yes, Dr. Kashish. Your time starts now. Please start.
So I hope the screen is visible to all of you.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. So I'll basically start with what is dermatology today, and since its advent, how it has evolved since today till today. Well, it was not a separate branch in early 1900s, but as the diagnostic tools and histopathology sets in, it built itself into a separate specialty. From treating leprosy, STDs, scabies, and other itches, we are now finally into the era of beauty. So now we are actually treating to make people look good and feel good. And still the dermatology, the core dermatology is the blood in our veins. But we have seen most of us actually use the terms like cosmetologist, aesthetic physicians, and other synonyms with our degree. So what is the reason? Well, it opens up the spectrum for us, not from just being the itch doctor, but to the beautifiers. So I welcome you to this debate of in-house pharmacy. Is it an essential component of dermatology practice? I, Dr. Kashish Kalra, is going to speak for the motion, and I'll give you solid reasons for that as well. Well, the first reason, rampant substitution of drugs by the chemist. See, we all have seen how the prescription flows in the market. We all are doctors, very hardly earned. We have earned our degree really hard. And with our investment of knowledge and time and intent to make our patient better, we write a prescription. Now this goes to a chemist. God knows what his education is, and we know how the system works in our country. And they take the patient takes the drugs. Now, after maybe a month or follow-up or 2 weeks, the patient comes back and says that, doc, my fungal infection is not going. And he shows you the empty strips of the drugs. And then you are taken aback and you think that the might of your pen is ridiculed by some metric pass or metric failed person who replaces your drug with a category C drug, with a brand C. By brand C, I mean the brand which is not well established, and we mostly in layman we call it as a local brand. So you see that ordeal of the doctor is really undescribable, and we all have faced that. At that time, what I can see, the scenario of this coffee is what is of that doctor. So the second point which I like to say, the Ram and Sham of the dermatology, the homonyms in dermatology, I actually, frankly, I used to hate this when brands of similar sounding words were actually proposed by the pharma reps. And I've written myself a moisturizing lotion by a very good company. And the chotu of that, chemist shop, he gave a cleansing lotion instead because they both look quite similar, as you can see. And patient came next morning with flaking and all the erythematous skin because he kept it thinking it to be a moisturizing lotion. Same way you write a physical sunscreen and to a child and a patient applies a chemical one. So these nuisance can definitely dealt with if you have an in-house pharmacy. Newly launched unique products. Well, a lot of pharma companies are into research and sometimes they have their patented drug which unfortunately or fortunately doesn't have a substitute. So it is not readily available at the chemist. Now in the recent past, the pharmacological rationale of dermatology is changing. We all are using a lot of drugs for off-label indications, like maybe some novel things like methotrexate for psoriasis or brimonidine gel for rosacea. And we all know that novelty is a pillar of learning. But if you don't have an in-house pharmacy, you can't be novel because it takes months. It takes at least a month for these drugs to be available at various counters. Now, the second option which the medical rep gives you, sir, you can give my number to the patient and I will do the home delivery. Now, when you do that, the gates of and definitely if that patient is a fan of Amir Khan, then your follow-up is screwed. So next, I bring to the today's scenario the cosmetologist portion. Yes, I actually flaunt my degree. I do say that I am a cosmetologist, and I'm sure so does my senior, my friend Dr. Gaurav Nakra does. He's also a cosmetologist. So, sir, I would like to ask you, being a cosmetologist, cosmeceuticals are one of the most vital ingredients. So how do you make it available to your patients? How do you dispense your anti-aging creams? How do you give your vitamin C serums and anti-hair fall shampoos? Well, we all know most of the good brands which actually work are international brands, and these are not readily available at the chemist. So one option could be you actually make them available at the nearby chemist, but that is a different aspect to the same scenario. You're actually dispensing through that chemist. So why not have it in your own in-house pharmacy? Well, it actually increases the client satisfaction, and it's a boon for these page 3 patients like the kitty party auntie or the model who wants to buy a BB cream. So next scenario, the confused patient. Very common. We have seen a patient walks into the clinic with a simple complaint like urticaria. But when you see your setup, studded with ads for anti-aging treatments, for lasers, etc., something goes through his mind. He thinks that why not make full use of the consultation fee I paid? And he starts with urticaria, he ends with hair fall, he goes to the pigmentation and the lines on his faces. And when you prescribe, the list is long. Now the patient goes to the chemist, and when he buys it, he gets confused. He doesn't understand when and how to use these medicines. And then he calls the reception. Now the receptionist, she don't know anything about it, and she actually dismisses the case and transfers the call to you. Now when you're having a family time, you're watching movie with your daughter, or maybe you're having coffee with your five, the patient calls you and you know how that personal time is killed. We all have seen that. Now the big part, the moolah. Yeah, definitely the money is there, and you must be thinking why I brought this point at the last. Well, the best bite is actually kept for the last, and I'm sure my senior, my worthy opponent, is going to make me sound mean on this point. But one thing is very sure, we all are working as cosmetologists. Aren't we having a business plan? There's no shame in accepting that dermatology in today's era needs business sense. The next debate is on the marketing, and we'll have a good discussion on that too. So, Dr. Gaurav Nakra, you are a cosmetologist, you are a great laser surgeon, and you are selling body LHR packages to your patients. So, are you selling those packages to relieve the patient from suffering of waxing? No, sir, you don't. You know the answer. You're doing it for money. So, be frank in that. So, this is a great source of income, undoubtedly. And next, I like this thing, Sone Pe Suhaga offer, 1+1. Now, what is this? Let's take a scenario. A patient comes for a rash and the doctor prescribes something. So as soon as the patient is going to leave your office, suddenly his wife says, sir, can you write me an anti-hair fall shampoo? At that time, you're pissed off. You think that she's trapping you into another loop of a new consultation. Now, being an Indian doctor without pharmacy, you're actually very much irritated, and you can't tell that patient that go out and pay the consultation fee and come back, because that will sound you make you sound look more meaner and selfish. So you're actually the most irritated person in that cabin at that point of time. But if you have an in-house pharmacy, let me tell you, friends, you'll write a hair serum also. So no shames for accepting this. And what are the hesitations? Why do we run from having an in-house pharmacy? Well,
Dr. Kashish, Dr.
sir,
Kashish, you have got 1 minute.
Sir, just 1 to 2 minutes I'll take. I won't take much time in the rebuttal though. So number 1 point, most important, it looks unethical and greedy. Well, it is very important where to draw the line. डॉक्टर साहब की दवा सिर्फ उनके क्लिनिक में ही मिलती है. You have to be miles away from this line. It is very, very important. If you are a young dermatologist like me and you are still climbing the ladder of practice, you have to choose your inventory very wisely. The things which you keep should be of well-established brands. It should be easily available at other counters as well. Though 1 out of 5 might be an exception, like cosmeceuticals, I said, but most of the things should be there, and those should be of good company brand. So the line should be, डॉक्टर साहब की दवा उनके क्लिनिक पे भी मिलती है. So there's a difference of only and also. You have to be an option. You should not be the only option. Your patient should not come from 5 kilometers just to buy a face wash from you. That actually brings bad reputation. Bad mouthing. Well, bad mouthing by nearby chemist, I give a damn about it. My clinic, in 1 kilometer area of my clinic, there are around 20-25 big chemists. So I just believe the lion doesn't turn around when the small dog barks. So just do your work and do it well. The legal trouble, yes, it's a big factor which actually builds a lot of hesitation in our mind. But let me be frank with you, once you take the plunge, the job is quite easy. There are consultants who can guide you, your CA can guide you. For example, I run my pharmacy in name of my HUF account, Hindu Undivided Family Account. So that's a different ITR segment altogether. Time demanding. See, we usually think we will manage all the inventories and all those things and the accounts, but new softwares are there which makes it like a cakewalk. You need to spend only 15 to 20 minutes a day, which is actually less than doing a chemical peel, and the reward is quite high. So at the end, I'd like to say you have to be a show runner. You can't be a passive doctor. I actually regard this person. I'm a fan of his intelligence and his knowledge, but I hate his passiveness. He doesn't know just how to run the show. And let me tell you, I'm not a fan of this person, this guy at all, but he definitely knows how to run the show. So be Atmanirbhar. Thank you so much.
Wonderful, Dr. Kashish. Now, Dr. Gaurav Nakra, it's your chance, your time to go against it. Yes. Let us see who is more Atmanirbhar and whom do you follow?
Yes. So, shall I share my screen, sir?
Yeah, sure. Please go ahead.
I'll just do it. Okay. So, I am here speaking against my friend and a worthy opponent, Kashish. and we have a full house here. So the topic is in-house pharmacy. Is in-house pharmacy an essential component of a dermatology practice? And let me introduce myself. I'm Dr. Gaurav Nakra. Thanks, Vanessa, for introducing me. And so essential as in extremely important or indispensable, something without which we cannot do something, really. So somebody should have told me that in-house pharmacy is essential for a dermatology practice before I built a reasonably good dermatology practice without an in-house pharmacy.
So can you please make it full screen, your presentation, slideshow view?
So you have to go on your PPT and right side lower bottom.
Yes.
No, you can press the view button and then or the present button at the top right near next to share button.
I cannot see the share button.
The present button at the top right of the screen. The present, the top right.
Yeah.
Yes, next to this present.
Next
present.
to this, yes.
Yes.
So
Yes.
Now it is done.
so is it visible now?
It is loading.
So is it visible now?
No.
It's still loading.
I think you can press escape, Gaurav. Yeah.
Yeah, now
Yes,
it is.
now it is there. Now it is there.
Visible. Okay. So I'll again start. Sorry for taking this much time. So essential as in extremely important or indispensable. So somebody should have told me that in-house pharmacy is essential for building a dermatology practice before I actually built a reasonably good dermatology practice without an in-house pharmacy. So basically all of the wonderful points my worthy opponent made can be deconstrued for a simple mind in a simpler take-home principle. It is good because it brings in good money, period. So the money from the pharmacy, which he thinks is so good that when my friend Kashish makes a video to inform the public about how his clinic is now prepared to follow all the COVID era protocols, he ends it by telling that they can collect the medicines from the pharmacy while leaving. So not a word about lasers or any other procedures, but pharmacy is the focus. And I'll give you a disclaimer. My point of view favoring not running an in-house pharmacy is not about taking moral high ground. Although there are ethical issues to be considered, but I believe that as professionals, we have an absolute right to be compensated fairly for our skills. And all professions make sense if they make good money. So in fact, I am all for enjoying the finer things in life if they have been achieved by your own hard work. So I am not saying that you should be altruistic. I'm not preaching altruism over profitable business model or socialism over capitalism. In fact, I don't encourage the business of dispensing model business medicines for the simple reason that it's not good for business. So is it sounding like a paradox? I'll explain. So run a search for most critical factors for making a business successful. And amongst the top factors, you would get integrity or the perception of your integrity in your consumer's eyes. So it takes 20 years to build a reputation and 5 minutes to ruin it. And this is not my quote. This is Warren Buffett.
So probably you need to move on to the next slide. Just press the play button there on the bottom bar, which you see.
I'm already on the next slide.
No, we cannot see your next slide.
Which
We
slide?
cannot see
So
it.
just make the slide 2. On slide 1, maybe from there you here.
So
Yeah. Gaurav,
On
here.
slide 1, just go on to slide 2. Yes.
But so
Just
is
press
it,
the drop down button.
so which slide you are able to see?
First.
The title slide. Yes, press this.
So are you able to see now?
No.
No. Gaurav, there is a drop down button next to slide 1.
It will not happen from there. Dr. Gaurav, please unshare your screen, and when you have made your PPT full view, then you share your screen again. It will come down.
Sir, here is the next button. In the next first one, play. Down, left down, left down. Down side, left side.
So
Just a moment.
are you able to see now?
No.
Now share your screen after you make it full view. After that, you share your screen.
After presenting, when you reach the presenter's view, then you share your screen. That's what probably.
Yes, we can see now.
You can
Yes.
see now?
Yes,
Yeah.
it is.
Can you see the disclaimer slide?
Yes.
Yes, yes, yes.
So,
Yes, Gaurav. Please go ahead.
Can I start from here now again?
Yeah, Gaurav. I'll give you the time. Please go ahead.
I'm sorry, sir.
No
So,
problems.
so I'll give you a disclaimer. My point of view favoring not running an in-house pharmacy is not about taking moral high ground. It's not at all. So although there are ethical issues to be considered as well, I believe that as professionals, we have an absolute right to be compensated fairly for our skills. And all professions make sense if they make good money. So in fact, I'm all for enjoying the finer things in life if they have been achieved by our own hard work. So I'm not preaching altruism over profitable business model or socialism over capitalism. In fact, I don't encourage the business of dispensing medicines only for the simple reason that it's not good for our business. So if it sounds like a paradox, I'll explain. So if we run a search for most critical factors for making a business successful, amongst the top factors, you would get integrity or perception of your integrity in your consumer's eyes. So it takes 20 years to build a reputation and 5 minutes to ruin it. And this is Warren Buffett's quote. So we are not chemists or pharmacists. We are professionals. Income from the pharmacy is just a small part of our earning or a reasonable part of earning. As Kashish said, it's the big moolah. But we are not earning money only by retailing medicines, but a lot of valid means, including consultations and procedures. So for most of the new age or upcoming dermatologists, especially in tier 1 or tier 2 cities, a significant percentage of their business would come from the procedures. If any given decent in any given decent city, there always would be a significant number of dermatologists offering the same procedures. You would be chosen as the performing dermatologist on the basis of your perception of genuineness in the eyes of your consumers. So does running a pharmacy dent a credibility? In an ideal world, there's nothing wrong giving patients a choice or convenience to purchase their medicines from the clinic itself. In fact, we are assuring the quality of medicines, as Kashish was saying, being taken by the patients, as there would be no replacements of the medicines which we have prescribed with the best of our patients' interest in mind. But honestly, are we living in an ideal world? Facts. I'll give you some facts. Dermatology and aesthetic prescriptions are actually very expensive. People's tendency to ask for sunscreens, that 1+1 was Kashish was saying, ask for sunscreen, shampoos and face washes adds to the cost of prescription. All the money spent purchasing medicines in your pharmacy is supposedly totally being given to you in the patient's minds. If they end up dissatisfied, which most of the derma patients would eventually be, for want of permanent cure of their dermatology problems, they would have supposedly spent lakhs of rupees on you without any benefit. The other scenario, let's consider the alternative. So you write the best possible medicine, you instruct the patients to take it from any pharmacy, which immediately absolves you from any conflict of interest, suggest as their well-wisher for their own well-being that they should not get the medicines replaced for quality and efficacy reasons. Now, Kashish was saying that they get confused and they give us a call and the staff does not know anything about it and they transfer the call to you and you are very irritated. So why not spend all of the money which you are earning from pharmacy and hire a good trained staff? It would be a good idea. So actually the prescription floats in pharma terminology, adding to your fame and awareness in your community. The chemist is happy to honor your prescription, obviously, and informs innumerable other people about the good dermatologist, which is you. And obviously, as a lion, you are not concerned about the dogs which bark, but obviously you would be concerned about your good publicity and mouth-to-mouth publicity. So in today's time, thanks to Amir Khan and all such other pseudo-socialists filled with the milk of human kindness, we enjoy an inherent distrust and prejudiced suspicion amongst our consumers. So although it would be great to have an evolved society as a consumer base, it's not going to happen anytime soon. So we might as well not add fuel to that fire by giving the perception of profiteering over compassion. And not because it would be wrong, it would be absolutely right on our parts, but simply because it is not good for our professional success. So when you search for doctors dispensing medicine in clinics, this is what you get on the internet, and this gives us a fair idea. So this is an article by Mr. P.A. Francis, which says stocking and selling of medicines by physicians, especially general practitioners, is an undesirable trend seen largely in semi-urban or rural areas of the country. Of late, the practice is spreading to most of the urban centers and metros, directly hitting the business of retail chemists, well-established GPs, and most of the specialists. However, do not indulge in this unethical practice. These are not my words. This is the sentiment which you may choose to ignore as a lion. And doctors resorting to the practice are found to be not keeping registered to note the batch numbers, expiry dates, prices, stock variations of the drugs sold to their patients, which are mandatory requirements for sales of drugs as per the Drugs and Cosmetics Act. So, and this also says that for the pharma companies, this arrangement is stated to be of great advantage as they do not have to pay the trade commissions to the wholesalers and retailers. So basically, you are being perceived as a profiteer even if you have your best intentions in your mind. And doctors were warned as chemists allege some selling medicines to patients. So we are not obviously worried by the chemists, but when they take it up with the authorities who are on witch hunt, and as we know nowadays, so they take cognizance of the complaints from the Chemist Association and the drug licensing authorities of Meerut Division. This is a recent thing in 2018. They warned doctors operating out of private clinics in the 6 districts against selling medicines under the garb of dispensing medicines. So is ruining your hard-earned reputation worth it? So obviously this was all about business sense and your reputation further leading to more business. But then there are ethical issues which we cannot ignore. However, you might sugarcoat your words. Apart from the perceptual disadvantage, there are definitely some ethical issues. So when you are running your pharmacy, you would definitely prefer your in-house product over a genuinely better competitor if you don't have that stock. You cannot purchase infinite brands for dispensing. Most of the good pharmaceutical companies don't offer very lucrative schemes as compared to smaller companies with questionable quality products. If you opt for widely available standard quality products, you don't make much of a margin selling these products, hereby defeating the purpose of taking so much pain of dispensing. Obviously, it was for profit. And if you opt for higher margins, you are encouraging products which you would not like to prescribe to your family members, would you? So most of these profit products are not available. These high profit products are not available easily. So you end up coercing the patient to purchase from your own pharmacy. And then comes the issue of bulk purchase. So the rep comes and tells you, sir, we have a scheme of 100 plus 50. You end up bulk purchasing things like soaps, shampoos, and moisturizers to avail of the bulk scheme, and bulk prescription to liquidate the stock. So you are always worried about the impending expiry of the products. So you dutifully, very obediently listen to your matric fail dispensing guy who tells you, sir, ye product nikal do varna expire ho jayega. And then you are very obedient to him. So in fact, there is a published article highlighting the moral and ethical issues associated with dispensing. So this is by the Indian Psychiatry Association, published in the Indian Journal of Psychiatry. And this clearly mentions that there are legal issues and there are ethical issues. So dispensing and selling of medicines by RMPs at their clinics to their patients may represent a significant potential conflict of interest with the medical ethical principles named autonomy, beneficence, and non-maleficence. And it raises various ethical and legal challenges. So can we blame the patients? No, we cannot blame the patients about thinking that dispensing is profit oriented when our colleagues have published a paper about it, isn't it so? So then there are other practical considerations. We need to be aware about various rules and bylaws before we get into the business of retailing. I'll give you certain examples. We should be knowing about the municipality laws and the building by codes. For example, in Delhi, we cannot be legally running a pharmacy in a basement or in purely a residential area, although professional activity like running a clinic is allowed in residential areas or basements. So you might end up having your clinic sealed just for having that small pharmacy counter. Then there are the income tax and GST laws. Your professional income is GST exempt up to a certain threshold, which most people don't pay GST. But combined income from retailing medicines and professional income would fall in the purview of GST. Now, if you plan a pharmacy in your name, you automatically start generating a GST liable income. If you are not running a pharmacy in your name, like Kashish said, he runs in the name of HUF, then you need a drug license to run it. So all these are minor inconveniences for someone who is as rich and well-heeled as my dear friend Kashish, but it would certainly take a toll on the young people starting their practice. So pharmacy business, or more appropriately retailing of dermatology medicines, though it sounds lucrative, but whether is it worth doing at the cost of your so much time, effort, and most importantly reputation, I leave it up to your discretion. And while we are at it, the government of India is up to it. There are changes to drugs and cosmetic rules mooted to ensure only generics are given to patients. So the central government is considering amendment to the drugs and cosmetic rules of 1945. Mind you, we are under the umbrella of an act which was formulated in 1945 when there were no enough pharmacies. So that's why you're able to take cover of that, and government is thinking about changing it. So it's being changed to ensure that RMPs dispense only general medicines. The matter was recently brought before Drugs Consultative Committee of the Central Drug Standard Control Organization. A proposal was received by CTSCO committee where the DCC was appraised that registered medical practitioners can supply different category of medicines, including vaccines, to their patients under the exemption provided with certain conditions under Schedule K of Drugs and Cosmetic Rules. As of now, there are no specific type of medicine. So let me clear it for you in simple word in just a moment. What we are doing, we are not dispensing, but we are retailing. So we are exempt, we are allowed to dispense medicines, but none of our friends, including Kashish, are formulating medicines at their clinic and selling it to you. We are exploring a gray zone in the law, a loop, and this is going to be stemmed by the government very soon. So
Gaurav, you have 1 minute, please.
this is my last slide. So my dear friend, opponent, businessman, Kashish, jaldi dispense karo. The government of India is aware about it. Thank you so much. I rest my case.
Wow, Gaurav, what a nice way and smooth way to put your points against having a pharmacy. Kashish, I would like you to, if you have some comments for rebuttal, 1 minute for rebuttal. Then Gaurav, I'll request you also for 1 minute a rebuttal. And then there are so many questions. This topic is a burning topic for most of us. And there are so many questions about legal implications, etc., which Dr. Gaurav has already covered. So Kashish, I would like you to answer to those.
You'll have to just stop the screen sharing thing so I can share my screen.
Yeah, Gaurav, please stop your screen sharing.
Okay.
Okay, so here I stopped, and nothing much to say, sir. First of all, let me just share my small journey, how it began. So I'm 6 years into private practice, owning my clinic, and for the first 4 years I didn't dispense. Well, the reasons were, as I told you, the reason for dispensing, the first 5 reasons: rampant substitution of drugs. It really pissed me off. See, our branch is different as if you compare to other branches, as Dr. Gaurav Nakra said. The points are quite valid, and I take it quite well. But the problem in dermatology, when you're prescribing, there are a lot of things which patient doesn't understand, and these are substituted. And those drugs, like if you are giving a tablet, say a levocetrazine, and of a good brand, and a patient's buys of not so good brand, it's fine. But what about the face washes, the cosmeceuticals? These things are an integral part of our prescription. So if you see your own prescription, if you're writing 5 things, 3 out of 5 are these which are there to act on the patient, and it should act well. But if these are substituted, your investment of knowledge is worthless. So these were the 5 main points which led me to take the plunge, and I thought of dispensing. And these 2 points look the best points, but these actually came quite later, to be frank with you. And I won't say much, I won't take much time. The only thing is you have to draw the line. You have to draw the line what you are dispensing. At any point of time, if you get too greedy, as Dr. Gaurav Nakra said, and you got into the loop of more margin, more discounts, that actually brings a bad reputation to your name. I think, as I told before, your clinic should be an option. It should not be only option of selling medicine. And you don't have to tell the patient that please take it from outside and go. You just when the patient goes to the reception, they see this, yes, there's a pharmacy. If they want to buy, they can buy. Plus, you can add some extra discount, which I give. I give 10% discount in my pharmacy because I'm getting extra discount as compared to a chemist. So I
Point
think,
well taken. Point well taken. Gaurav, your points, please.
so,
Yes.
sir, just one last slide.
Yeah, please go ahead. Please go ahead.
Ultimately, what it matters, your patient should be uh, be treated well. Your drugs should be effective no matter where the patient is taking them from, because that leads to a good practice and that takes you places. And we have been together to so many places. This is a small pick from the Swiss valleys. And I'm looking forward for your valuable support to vote for New Delhi to host for Dermacon International 2023, to my friends and colleagues who are listening. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Kashish. Yeah, Gaurav, please.
Yes, sir. Sir, I also agree with a lot of points Kashish made, and in fact, I have been on the other side. I dispensed for the first 2 years of my practice, and then I stopped dispensing. And now I'm in a better position to dispense, but I realized that whatever points I made, the dent to your reputation is not worth the profit. And then there's a lot of energy being invested, which in terms of monetary gain is not being compensated fairly. So if we are getting a lot of trust of the patients, they end up doing a lot of procedures like PRPs and lasers. As he was saying, we send laser packages. So monetarily, it compensates us fairly well and much better than what would leave some dissatisfied patients. Now, there were certain points like new pharma research and some serums. So in any case, not all the patients are going to purchase from your pharmacy, as you are saying yourself. So some patients are bound to think that there might be vested interest in writing, and they would try to take from their friendly chemist or their age-old chemist. So in any case, some of the other chemists will have to make these products available. You cannot be telling that this is a good product and this is only available. That is an oxymoron, because that beats your intent of making it available everywhere. So ultimately, the things will be available as your prescription floats. The chemist will automatically call. I never tell the chemist to make these things available. They know, and there are always so many pharmacies around all of our clinics. We are practicing in Delhi where it's very dense. I'm not talking about rural areas where it would be better to dispense medicines. Second, about the similar sounding medicines and names of medicines and confusing names, you can very well have a very similar software, very cheap, which prints the prescription for you. So patients can very well read, and you can ask all of your mostly educated patients to just tally the names. It is not much of a problem. And as far as the other points of dispensing through pharmacies, and see, don't worry about dispensing too much, because then it takes away the focus from your skills of conversion, and you can very well invest those energies in generating the goodwill which is required in this today's scenario, when already we are at a disadvantage in lieu of the prejudice in the minds of patients. So I would definitely work towards gaining the trust of my patients. And as Kashish said, so just a second, we have been great friends, and this friendship continues. And both of us, along with all of us, hope to see all of you in Delhi, and as Delhi bids for Dermacon 2023. So please support us in the bid.
Yes, definitely. For Dermacon 2023, we all seek your support. And so, Gaurav, you said that you have earlier dispensed, and now you're not dispensing. So you have tasted both the cups of tea. So now, which one has made you more Atmanirbhar?
Sir, I feel much more Atmanirbhar because not dispensing, because then I'm not bounded by the stock which is lying at my clinic. And I am not only concerned about liquidating that stock. If I feel that something new and better has come up, or there are so many options, we have invested so much in studies, as Kashish said.
That's right. That's a very valid point. And before I go for certain questions from the audience, I would like to read a few statements. Like Dr. Rishi Parashar says that plenty of deep doubts about your integrity as money-minded doctor. which is corroborated by Dr. Ganju. He says that the patient feeling that doc is making money not only by changing the medicines again and again heavily, charging also heavily, but also selling the medication.
Right.
And whereas there are views where like Dr. P.K. Gupta from Faridkot is saying that dispensing is best quality medicine at best prices, use best medicines by the patient, there is no problem. Then there is Dr. Satyanarayan Murthy from USA. He says that standard of generics is deplorable. We should have a choice of brand. And there are so many dermatologists in US also who have started dispensing. Then Dr. Kalra, I have a question from Dr. Vanya Narayan to you. That she wants to know the essential requisites, example, registrations or licenses which are required for starting an in-house pharmacy to avoid any litigation or any legal implications by the chemist or chemist association or drug controller of that particular area or a drug inspector of that particular area. So your take on this.
These are actually listed if you go on the Google and you type. So these are listed. These things are listed in the drug control site, the pharmacy size and the ceiling height and all those things. And your CA can guide you quite well for the ITR part, that how you should dispense and how to take GST number and all those things. Sir, initially, why I took 4 years to dispense, I told you I was actually that ordeal which I shared of, we all share those ordeals. I used to see it each day. So I used to feel quite irritated because of that. So it took me 4 years to decide. But then when I took the plunge, I found it's not that tough. In fact,
Okay.
it's very easy. So there are
Yeah.
consultants for that. And the doctor who is asking this can actually ping me and I can tell her that what's the way and how to go about it.
Great. Dr. Kochar, Dr. Atul Mohan Kochar says that having an in-house pharmacy is the only guarantee that your prescription will be honored 100% truthfully and with good quality originals. So that goes in favor of Dr. Kashish Kalra. Dr. Swati Patel from Surat is asking 2-3 questions. I'll just take them quickly. Can I keep medicines and cosmetic products in my clinic where I do not have dedicated space for pharmacy store? This is one very important question because most of her the guidelines or the requisites say, as for in Delhi, it says that you need to have 100 square feet of air conditioned area with a refrigerator. So this is a very pertinent question. And she asks, can I dispense medicines to my patients in such scenario? And is it legally allowed to dispense cosmetic products without pharmacy store or without pharmacy license?
As far as I know, I think till the products till 20 lakhs of rupees per annum, if you are doing that, you can do that. Mainly the cosmeceuticals and all those things, because being a doctor, you can dispense. It's not a problem. But if the business is high, then you need a GST number and a proper space.
Okay, so GST number is definitely needed, and as both of you and all of us, we understand and we accept that cosmeceuticals are quite costly products. So the required 20 lakhs benchmark will be broken very soon. And do you accept that you have to produce a receipt to the patient as you are using HUF? So are you giving a receipt in the name of HUF?
Right, sir. My HUF has a different PAN number and we have a different GST number. And you can even you can have a trade name as well. So and then you have to print the receipt. Yes, you have to give the receipt to the patient.
Okay, but how about tackling the patients who come and tell to you that doc, nearby chemist gives me 25% discount or 20% discount? How do you tackle those patients? These are some practical questions.
That African proverb I shared with you, that let the law and rule and the dog barks. So basically, you have to set a guideline. 10% discount is what I offer, and I think it's quite a good amount of discount. And if the patients see, sir, first and foremost thing I want to the take-home message should be with a positive vibe, because this debate topic, I mean, Dr. Rohit Batra, Dr. Sumit Gupta, they're very smart people and they choose topics so wisely that you cannot come to one conclusion. So see, the thing is, you have to draw the line. Once again, I'll repeat for the young dermatologists here who are listening to these talks, that your pharmacy should not be the only option. It is one of the options. If the patient wants to buy from outside, okay, it's fine. He's more than happy to do that. So what I've seen is when I started, I was always perplexed that, if I see 30 patients a day, kaun kharidega, kaun nahi kharidega. But sometimes I see out of those 30 patients, 35 have bought the medicine, maybe the relative or somebody. So almost 90 to 100% of prescriptions are actually honored in my clinic itself.
That's great. And so Dr. Yogesh Zawar from Amravati.
Happy about it.
Yeah. Dr. Yogesh Zawar from Amravati says that owning a pharmacy helps in passing good discounts to the needy patients. That can be a plus point for you. And Dr. Manas Chopra says as long as the patient gets desired results, they don't mind paying or purchasing from you. Dispensing gives you satisfaction that you have given the best. Yeah, Dr. Gaurav, I am coming to you.
Sir, we always have the option of samples for the needy patients. We can always...
Yeah, that is okay. That is okay. But that in that scenario, Gaurav, you have given sample on first consultation. Suppose the patient turns next time and you don't have any samples for that particular ailment, then the patient might think, and this has happened to me also, that doctor, you took your consultation charges in which you gave some medicine also. This time you are taking the same charge and you're not providing me with any samples or any medicines. So patients will never mind buying booze or liquor, paying 70% extra, as Delhi government had announced, and it is the fashion nowadays. But they will always come and make the doctor as a scapegoat for discounts. If you are having your own pharmacy, then definitely they will ask for discount, and the same patient you can see lining up 3 kilometers paying 70% extra for a bottle of liquor. So there are both pros and cons for having a pharmacy and not having a pharmacy. The main point here is that if we are having a pharmacy, then we should have a prerequisite guidelines to follow state by state. Every state has got a different guidelines to start a pharmacy. And also there is a very, very important point that if you, when you are having a pharmacy, in-house pharmacy, till you are honoring your own prescription, that is dispensing, and you should be showing that it is not for a profit business. If you are showing a profit, then it comes to retail. If you are showing that it is only a dispensing, you are not earning any profit, because there are so many questions which says how to maintain stock, how to liquidate the stock adequately, and how to pay the bills which a company has raised against you. So there are so many plus and negative points. It is up to the doctor who is practicing to maintain. If you want to maintain a pharmacy, then you have to have a requisite space, fulfill all the guidelines to the satisfaction of the drug inspector of the local area as well as the state. And if you are not showing that you are earning something out of it, you are making a profit, then you may not pay taxes on it. That should be the point. So in this discussion, I think both Dr. Gaurav and Dr. Kashish are winners. So is the winner of IADVL, and especially IADVL Delhi State Branch, because IADVL Delhi State Branch has always been first in so many things, like holding conferences, e-conference. This time we had our state mid-year QTCon, and that was a wonderful, fantastic event. So, and we expect and we request all of you to bid for, we are bidding for Dermacon 2023 to please support us wholeheartedly. So I congratulate both Dr. Gaurav and Dr. Kashish for a wonderful debate. And I thank Dr. Rohit Batra and Dr. Sumit Gupta for inviting me to moderate this session. Thank you so much. Over to Dr. Sumit.